I'm Ayad,
And I'm Ahmed. Hello.
and we're both from the people of science. Thankfully, we've been hosted by the S and Ahmad R Public Library to do a little experiment for you folks that you can do easily at home. The first thing you'll need in this experiment is some milk. And the milk can either be whole milk or 2% milk, and that really helps kind of see what happens on in the experiment, as well as also have different food coloring. You can have as many food coloring as you like, whether you have one color or many. I found that if you have kind of the four primary colors, you can kind of work and you get to see an explosion of different colors, because as we know, the primary colors can make all those secondary colors. Then also, second thing you'll need is some soap. I found that Dawn dish soap actually works the best in terms of the reaction between the soap and the milk. You also need some Q-tips to use to kind of put in the soap and then put in here. So let's get right into it. So first thing you want to do, the first step, is you want to pour some milk into the plate. You just want enough milk to cover the whole of the plate. You don't need to fill the plate, just to cover the plate so as to not waste the milk. And I think that's good enough. Then you want to let it just sit for a couple moments. You want to let the milk kind of settle throughout the plate so you don't have a kind of uneven reaction. The first thing I'm going to do is just put some red in there. You can see the beautiful red colors. And Ahmed's going to put some green, some red, as well as some yellow. And as we know, the primary colors can make those secondary colors, so we can see an explosion of different reactions. We don't know, folks. So that kind of finishes off that blue. And I'd like to point out that this Q-tip doesn't have anything on it. So once I put it into this kind of milk food coloring kind of formula here, nothing happens, as we all know. Maybe it just absorbs a little bit of that green, but nothing peculiar happens. But notice when I start to put it into our Dawn dish soap. And as you're putting it into the Dawn dish soap, you don't want to kind of slather it. You just want to put a little bit, just so you can kind of see it on the Q-tip. And then watch what happens the moment I put it in here, folks. So I'll start with the red. As I start with that red, you can see the red milk being pushed away, and it's kind of mixing. If I go to other places here, you get the same thing, and you get this kind of explosion of different beautiful colors here. You can see the green kind of being pushed around with some red as well. So Ahmed, why don't you tell us what's actually happening in this reaction as we're going?
Yeah, that's really cool and it looks really good. So what happens is soap is made to it has some particles that bond with fats and proteins that are found on your dishes, on your hands, when you go wash your hands. And so this soap basically bonds with the fats and proteins and attaches to those fats and proteins and makes them those particles of the soap kind of go all around looking for as many fats and proteins as possible, which is why when it's put in the milk, it kind of explodes and it like shoots out all of the milk away from it, and it's bonding to anything that's close to it, and then it moves further away from the source, which is the soap.
And yeah, as you can see, folks, here, as I was talking, I've been trying to kind of put it in again and again. And as we keep on doing it, you'll notice that you're right there. You're not getting as much as a reaction as we got at the start. And that's because the kind of milk and soap kind of found their pairs. There's no longer any empty kind of milk, fats, and proteins for the soap to pair with. As Ahmed said, it kind of helps you wash your hands. So you see less of a reaction. I'm putting it in here. You still have the same amount of soap, and you don't see as strong as a reaction because it's kind of finished. It's all distributed. And Ahmed is just going to give us some added learning with the milk and soap as well, for any of you looking forward to high school and that sort of thing.
And Ayad's going to give us some tips and tricks if you want to do this experiment like after this video. So something else that happens is that there's something called polarity. Soap has a lot of particles that are polar, while milk has proteins or fats mainly that are non-polar. So basically they're just like the opposite. So the soap is polar, the milk is non-polar. And what that does is that polar substances like to go away from non-polar substances. They don't like each other. So if you do polar and polar, they like each other. But polar and non-polar, they go as far away from each other as possible. So when Ayad puts in the soap in the milk, the polar substances in the soap kind of make all the other stuff go away from it. And as we can see, over time, nothing's happening. And the reason of that is when the soap particles that bond to the fats, which are different, they're like two different parts of the soap, when the soap particles that bond to the fats, like they just attach to each other, it doesn't become as non-polar anymore. So it doesn't affect the polarity of the soap itself, doesn't affect the milk anymore. So nothing happens basically. It's just there.
And one thing we've noticed, folks, here is that your food coloring may be too concentrated if you're having trouble with this experiment. And one thing I found is that you just add a little bit of water there, not too much to kind of ruin the food coloring, but just enough that you can kind of see the explosion of colors. And don't worry, it doesn't mess with the experiment at all. One thing that I'll also add here is that this kind of showcases the importance of washing your hands. You always want to wash your hands to stay protected, especially in these times. This kind of shows the effects of soap and how good it is at kind of protecting and washing your hands. In the description below, you'll find the People of Science website, where we have some more science videos to see as well, and as well as some more STEAM challenge videos for you folks as well, if we're looking to kind of do some fun things at home that anyone can do. Thank you for watching and have a good day.